Hi, I'm Cameron, and I don't just read comics, I love them. On today's episode of Cameron Reads Comics, my friend Jesse and I are going to read The Vision by Tom King and Gabriel Walta. This series has been talked about on the podcast multiple times, and with the release of WandaVision, there was no better time than now to talk about it. So, this week, instead of reading the summary of the book, I wanted to opt out and read an excerpt special letter that Tom King wrote at the end of issue number 2 of the series. I think it added a really cool lens into the rest of the story that provides a light into what makes this story so special. Remember to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and now YouTube at Cameron Reads Comics. And please, please, please make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Now, here's your episode on The Vision. When I was young, I didn't have much, but I had comics. Friends were hard, sports were hard, comics were easy. Back then, comics were something to be ashamed of. Comics were evidence that you couldn't handle the everyday of life. If you read comics, you weren't cool. If people found out you read comics, life got a little tougher on you. So you hid it. You hid your collection, you hid your passion, you hid your nerd. The end result of all that hiding was alienation. The sadly lingering sense that what you cared about, what really mattered to you, was a thing to be mocked by everyone else. You were different, you were stupid, you were odd, you were less, you were not normal. Things have changed a bit, thankfully, but at its heart, I think comics is still a misfits medium. It's a community of outsiders, a bunch of men and women who, for a myriad of reasons, have trouble conforming to the expected form, who seek a temporary escape from the good, hard pain that comes from pushing against the mold, hoping it'll finally break. Somehow, panels and words, spandex and punching, they magically ease all that. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me why, but I'll take it. Which brings us to beholding The Vision. For me, The Vision is the chance to explore the alienation that sometimes attracts people to comics, the tension that comes from not being normal in a society that demands normality. Because whatever The Vision is, he isn't normal. But man, does he want to be. The Vision created by Ultron to be a weapon, and he decided instead to be human, to be us. This decision has brought quite a bit of pain. His tortured relationship with Wanda, his children's tragic fate, his death, his deaths. Still, after that, he strives to fit into society, to participate in the American dream, to raise a family in the suburbs, to build a better world. To be like everyone else, I think he probably knows it's impossible, but because he's a hero, he doesn't know how to stop himself from pursuing the impossible. Vision's quixotic quest for the normal will be the central theme of this book. We will look at how the world reacts to his noble attempt, how that reaction warps him and his family, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. It is a tale of blood and kisses, of brothers and sisters, daughters and sons, husbands and wives, of betrayals in high school, and guns and lasers and bureaucrats and avengers and neighbors and suspicion and robots. Red-skinned robots peacefully living among us, red-skinned robots trying to live peacefully amongst us. Hopefully, in the end, if I do it right, it's a tale of you and me. Okay, welcome back, Jesse. We're just getting into it, baby.
Hi, Cam.
What a great day for a podcast to be recorded.
Absolutely. I think it's always a treat when we're recording.
It is. Again, for those that know, we are recording at the world-famous Canvas by Kate and Surf Shop. You are going to hear PCH, but for my East Coasters, that's what it sounds like.
PCH?
Yeah.
I don't think you could really... I mean, in our other episodes, when motorcycles drive by, you can definitely hear them, but...
Yeah, you know, if you hear some hums and rattles, that's That's people driving. Okay, so
Hey, hold on.
Okay.
Before we get started, right? Because you and I and other guests have talked about so much hip hop before. Can we take a second to say rest in peace to Daniel Dumoulin,
yes.
aka King Ghidorah, aka King Ghidorah,
Yeah.
aka Victor Vaughn, aka Metal Fingers, aka Metal Face, the one and the only MF Doom.
Yes, actually, I'm so glad you brought that up.
I mean, he's the world's greatest supervillain.
He is. Like, it's so sad.
I mean, and we talked about Czarface, and we've talked about other hip hop acts before, you and I, and he has a style that I don't think will ever be replaced.
Yeah, the way I would describe him, because I wasn't the hugest MF Doom fan, but like I really kind of describe him as like asymmetrical hip hop, because the way his beats and his lyrics like tie together is just like, it shouldn't work, but it really does.
A lot of times when people first listen to him, they're like, he's not even rhyming, because he rhymes words that don't necessarily go together.
Yeah.
But that's the genius that is MF Doom.
Yeah, he's brilliant, and
He is a legend, and may he rest in power.
yeah, absolutely. And like also, I don't know, in just a comics level, I love Doctor Doom, and to have someone create a moniker based on that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know his name was Daniel Dumoulin, which is the coolest. I like love that.
Yeah, right?
I'm like, oh my gosh.
I had to get that out of the way because we had to pay some respects to the world's greatest supervillain being a comic podcast and us being fans of hip hop, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And to tie it back to my favorite hip hop superhero artist or musical artist, rap artist, Czarface, they did a collaborative album together, and it's so good.
It's my favorite Czarface album is that album for sure.
Yeah, so.
And I could have gone his AKAs. He's got so many. That was like 8, right? But if you go through his collaborations, JJ Doom and like Danger Doom and Czar Doom, basically, if you want, or the ones with Ghostface Killer, and it just goes on and on. Those are just the ones that he's known by.
Yeah,
crazy, man.
Every hero needs a villain. So
that's right, and he was the greatest one ever.
He was.
Anyways,
well,
carrying on.
Thank you for putting that in.
I had to.
Yeah, it's great. So I guess no, we read The Vision this week by Tom King and Gabriel Walta. We already kind of dabbled in talking about it already, but now we're here, and this is the time where we kind of get to talk about everything we feel about this book.
Yeah, and it really, it's going to encapsulate everything that we've been talking about the last couple episodes that we've had. And I don't know that there is any other, books that we would necessarily need to read to kind of, finish this arc of Wanda and Vision and going into the WandaVision show. I think we've nailed all the greats.
Yeah,
right?
especially the heavy hitters for sure. And so I don't know, I'm actually very it was unintentional, but I'm kind of very proud of the arc that we've taken to get to the Vision, because this I mentioned this series in the very first episode of Cameron Reads Comics, because we read Mr. Miracle by Tom King, and I think that this book is really what gave him fame, what made Tom King's name known, and then it is his style completely. It's a perfect representation of who he is as a writer.
Was Mr. Miracle done after this?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's he takes, frankly, a B-list character, and he just really digs deep in them. And actually, if you're listening to the podcast now, I actually wrote the intro already, and Tom King wrote a letter about in issue number 2, it might be in your copy, but in issue number 2, he wrote a letter about what this series was going to be and how intentionally he was crafting it, and it was so beautiful and well done. He's I just want Vision's had such a weird life, and he's a robot, and really what he wants to do is be normal. And so this book in every aspect is Vision just trying to live a normal life, but without the comprehension of humanity, because he's not human.
Right.
And so it was really well done.
The letter?
Yes.
I mean, the entire book is really well done.
Yeah, exactly. But I meant the book. But yeah, the letter was good too.
I didn't know whether you meant his forward on episode or issue 2, or the book is, it's an absolute masterclass.
Yeah,
it really is.
Okay, so let's just get into it. How'd you like it?
It's my second read through, and I loved it the first time. I loved it even more the second time.
I think that context helps so much.
The context of already knowing, you mean? Mm-hmm. I think that, and the context of us reading all the kind of Vision Wanda stories in the last couple months was really like, it really, kind of wrapped it all up. I understood so much more what was going on. Where the first time I read it, like I might not have understood some of the like intricacies that he put in the story, which the second read was
like
so good, dude.
And you know who really sticks out to me in this one and throughout the arcs is actually like Agatha Harkness.
Yes. So the first read through Agatha Harkness, like she's there, but I didn't know really what to make of her. Right?
Yeah, it was kind of, she just in like the first issue or whatever, just dropped in there and like she ate the weird flower, and it's like, what?
In the first time I read it, she reads weird flower, and then obviously someone has to ingest the flower, and then you have to murder whoever ate the flower, right? And the first time I was like, gosh, she's killing this cow. What the fuck's wrong with her? Like, what's going on? And now I was like, oh, I get just her in general. I get it. But the book, I mean, just the narration throughout, which I was confused. Is there multiple narrators?
I think so.
There is, right? Because at one point, I think it's Agatha narrating.
Yes.
The like Wanda part, and then it's what's his wife's name? Vivian.
Yeah.
Right? Is it
Viv?
No, it's
or
Viv
Victoria.
It's Victoria, right? So it's Vision.
All V names.
Viv,
like, what the heck?
Victoria, Virginia, and then his brother is Victor.
Yes.
It's got
Victor
be
Mancha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's Virginia. That's his wife's name.
Virginia Slims.
And then they have a dog. I think his name is Sparky.
I don't know.
I love the dog.
The dog part's wacky, right? Like they fucking, he gets zapped and like. Even that's. I mean, the book is done so well. Even when I'm jumping all over the place here, but like,
you're fine.
Even when he's like cutting the dog's brain out, he's just so like he feels like that's what he needs to do at the time to give his family this robot dog, and it's like brutal, but at the same time, it's what Vision needs to do, what he thinks he needs to do for his family, because that seems human to him, would be to bring them a pet dog home. Fuck, it's good.
This movie or this book reminds me of movies I've been watching. Like Jesse's been hearing this, and I think I talked about it last week with Hannah, but I've been on a huge Sam Mendes kick. And so I just think if this was it's like, this is American Beauty and Revolutionary Road, like in a comic.
I am shaking my head, yes, because it is 100% American Beauty.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's like, the entire thing's like, look closer. It's like what looks to be a picturesque family is actually so fractured, and but it's like so magnificent.
It is the way that the art style and the writing and the narration, and like it's all so like hauntingly beautiful and like fucked up.
Yeah.
And like it's so good, man. It is so good. And like you can see that like brokenness too later on in the book when the neighbor comes over to look for the dog, which has been killed. He comes over to look for the dog, and Virginia's like, oh, come on in. You want to come and look for the dog? And he's like, that's not necessary. But she's like, come in anyways. And he walks in, and the house is destroyed. And he's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
He's like, I should leave.
Yeah.
I should get out of here, right? And then he picks up the Captain America lighter. Man, it's a masterpiece. It really is.
Okay, actually, you talked about the art. My next question would just be like, I think that this book, the art especially, and a big shout out to Gabriel Walta and Jordi Belair, who does the colors, because I thought it was all one. It looks like the whole thing's watercolor, but it's not.
Between the like soft lines and like the pastel kind of like, it does look like watercolor. It's amazing. It really is.
So like, I feel like Gabriel Walta's style is very much something that like wouldn't make sense for the big two. You know what I mean? Like, I think the art in this book is just one of those lightning in a bottle circumstances where it is just absolute. It nails it. Like, perfect. Like, all the lines are just where they need to be. And like the art, the tone that the art set is so exclusive to this book, because remember, we've read now, Olivier Coipel did House of M. We did David Finch on Avengers Disassembled, but this style is so completely different than those. I feel like it's not a Marvel in-house style, but for this book, it works so well.
It had to be done. I believe that it had to be done like that. Yeah. Whether he picked the artist because he knew what the story was going to be and he needed that. Like, it had to be done like this. It's really like comparing it to something. I've read a lot of like The Walking Dead before, and it's like that kind of indie Walking Dead. A lot of the facial expressions are always pained and like, it's. I mean, it's not black and white, but it's similar to that kind of art style. You know what I mean?
It's, I think, like a Tony Moore or a Charlie Adler for my Walking Dead fans. Yeah, I totally agree. And like, in the color palette they did, it wasn't like over excessive with colors. It's very kind of like you're saying soft and like neutral. It was just so good.
Yeah, they use that to their advantage in some points. When whenever she's talking, or not Virginia or Vision are talking to like the cops and they're telling the story, it goes to like an orange, like what's it, like sepia, that kind of color. Or like when it's Agatha, I think it's black and white. And if it's not black and white, it's very muted, and it helps. Like with Agatha, there's a couple pages as she kills that cat. Like there's red splatters of blood everywhere, and yeah, man. Even when like the Avengers come in later in the book, the way that they're all drawn, it's so good.
Yeah.
Which also, this is a newer book?
This is newer book. It is. I think when you look at the Avengers roster, you can kind of tell like what time it was.
Yeah, because Thor's it's female.
Yeah,
Thor.
female Thor. So I think this happened during the time of all different Avengers, where they're kind of swapping out the teams. Like Kamala Khan is a member of the Avengers at the time, and female Thor. I'm sure that if we got a better look at Captain America, it would have been.
I don't think he's in here.
Like Falcon Cap though. You know what I mean?
No, Falcon is.
Yeah, so it's
actually that makes sense. If Falcon's here, that would explain why Captain America is not here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
so it would have been like Falcon Cap or anything. So that was the time. It's new. I think, I don't know. I think this is 2014, 2015.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last 5 years. Sure, right?
Yeah. And so this is actually, funny enough, one of my first Marvel stories I ever read. Like, because Jesse knows that I've been into comics for a long time, but I've been exclusively DC for, like, the first leg of the journey.
Jesse knows, and so does everybody else. Cam is a DC fanboy. Let's be honest here.
And so when I heard about this series, everyone's like, you need to read it, and you hear the hype surrounding something, and I was like, whatever, I'll go pick up the first trade, picked it up, and I was like, wow, this is really good. And like, it's intimidating to go into a B-list character and, not know. I'm like, I don't know who Wonder Man is at the time. Like, I don't know who Agatha.
I mean, even on the second read through, I still was unclear who Wonder Man was, but Wonder Man is who? Okay, so Wonder Man is like who Ultron used for Vision's mind. I don't understand.
Okay, so think about
it. Wasn't Ant-Man or the one that made Vision good, basically, right?
Hank Pym. The way I think about it, I kind of combined a lot of origin stories in my head. Hank Pym created Ultron. And so then Ultron was trying to be a sentient being, rule the world, whatever. He's Ultron.
And then
And then Ultron eventually created the Vision. And he wanted Vision to be like a synthezoid. And so what happened was he merged the consciousness of Wonder Man, who was an Avenger at the time.
Right.
In the same way, think about the Age of Ultron, how they used Jarvis as the template. So they used... it's about Jarvis for Wonder Man. They used his consciousness, and then they used... I don't know, not mumbo jumbo robot comic book nonsense. And so he has the consciousness of Robot Man and Ultron. And then I think I really like the idea that he just used his consciousness to go, one step further than Ultron. You know what I mean? He's like, Ultron thinks that humans are the problem and they need to be wiped out. Vision's like, they're not the problem. Like, they are, they need to be saved. And so that's the difference, and that's kind of where he set himself apart from Ultron. And that's really about as much as I understand the character. Mm-hmm. And now he's at this point where he's seeking to understand humanity and longing for acceptance.
Yeah, dude, it's just he's living in the suburbs in Washington, D.C., working for the United States government. We're on, right?
Yeah, we're on.
Keep looking at that thing. You're making me nervous.
Oh, you're good. It's okay, guys. Behind the scenes, my thing will stop and start and like get if you ever listen to my episodes of Russell that go over an hour, it'll start. You'll hear buzzing, and so I just make sure I can tell when it's happening. And
gotcha.
That's all I'm doing.
But back to the ranch. Yeah, they're a suburban family, and they're trying to fit in and be human. And I mean, it's just they're not. You know,
Yeah.
Like when what's his name? There's so many
Vic?
V's. It's Vin. It's Vic. Vic asked Viv, like, "Hey, am I normal?" Because the kids at school, I mean, they're robots and they're in school.
Yeah.
They're robots.
Yeah.
And they're in school. And like the principal, when Vic gets into a fight with CK
Yeah.
because he's being antagonized.
Because CK is a freaking punk. Anyways.
He is a punk, right? But and we'll go back to that here. But the principal's like, "Yo, man, like your children," talking to Vision and Virginia, "are weapons.
Yeah.
Like, are they not? What do you want me to do? They can shoot lasers out of their face.
Yeah.
Like, I can't have a kid bring a gun to school, but your kids are guns."
Yeah.
There's just so many small things like that where, and then Vision starts talking to the principal like,
Oh, yeah.
"You can't talk to me that way. I've saved Earth 37 times, and you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me." But he's always so, like, put together. He's a robot.
He's robot. He's like deadpan, but and that's Walta. You know what I mean? He just does the artist does a great job of really like showing his deadpan. I'm like deadpan face.
Is there an episode that you can get through that you don't hit your mic?
Nope. I'm passionate. I'm like, but he's deadpan, but you can read it in his tone, and
Yeah.
it's so good. And that's like one of my favorite scenes in the whole book.
When he's talking to the principal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The whole book, I know you're going to ask me the question, what's your favorite part? The whole book is my favorite part.
Really?
I mean, it really, really is. I mean, I do have some other parts that I really like, I thought about after I read them, but the whole book, I recommend it so much to everybody. It's so good, dude.
Yeah.
It will go over people's heads because if you don't understand who they are, but maybe people who've been listening to this and they want to watch the WandaVision show, after you watch the show, read the book. It's so good. Right?
Yeah.
It's so good. But even like the choices that they make, to me, it seems like, when he's writing, he wants to say, "Oh, is this, a black and white choice, or is this, was this the wrong choice?" Like when who's the dude that comes in and gets killed? The bad guy, Wonder Man's brother.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Reaper.
When
the Reaper comes in and like zaps, Viv. Is it Viv? Vic? Vin. I got it written down. I had to.
Yeah. It's Viv.
Viv, and Vic.
Yes. Oh my gosh, there's literally so many.
When he comes in and zaps Viv, and then, Virginia, it was almost like she accidentally killed him. She killed him with the intent of.
I would argue it's accidental.
But to me, like, that's her family. She's defending her family. If someone came into my house and shot my daughter, I would kill them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think, they painted that really well. Like, she wasn't necessarily wrong. The wrong thing to do is try and hide it.
Yeah, then she tried to hide it, but they make her feel as her character, like, oh no, what have I done? Why, I have to hide this from the Vision, which, man, she didn't have to. She could have just told the truth.
Oh my gosh. And then we're spoilers, but
yeah, of course there's spoilers.
She goes into his head and like edits, she changes his like, I don't know, his mind sequence or whatever to change his memories.
Yeah, so she hacks into his brain multiple times, right? And upon my first read through, I thought that might actually just be her lying to cover her tracks to keep him safe. But on the second one, I was like, no, she hacked into his brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he trusted her. He puts safeguards in place for everything that he does, right? He's a meticulous robot, but he didn't put a safeguard in place for his wife, who he trusts.
Yeah.
Who he shouldn't, because she is based off of Wanda.
But he loves Wanda.
I know he loves Wanda.
And it's crazy too. It blew my mind at the end. Sorry if I interrupted you, but
no, not at all.
Her ending up with Wonder Man.
Yeah, it made sense.
It does make sense, but it's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking, yeah. So, I'm sure you're going to explain this with your intro, but Virginia is based off of Wanda's consciousness, just as the Vision is based off of Wonder Man's consciousness. Mm-hmm. So Virginia is just as broken as Wanda is.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Literally, and I love that they spent and they gave an entire issue to that.
The flashback of them too.
Oh yeah, of like her. Yeah, it's like of him making. I think Wanda gave a file of her consciousness to
Vision.
Vision, yeah.
Because they broke up.
Yeah, that entire idea, I'm like, that was perfect.
It was a great part of the story, too, because they tell that chapter, and that chapter, I mean, they end up not together anymore because the Vision, this is going to go right back into the MCU, the Vision dies, right? And when he comes back as Ghost Vision, I guess, the all-white Vision, he's like, I'm not your, he's talking to the kids, he's like, I'm not your father, and I'm not your husband. Like, I'm new. It's the same thing that James Gunn said about Groot and Baby Groot.
Yeah.
Groot's dead. Baby Groot is another Groot. It's the same with Vision, right? Vision's like, yo, man, that old Vision's dead. I'm not that guy. So that's why she left, right? She's like, I can't with you.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still Vision.
Let's be honest. It's a robot.
It's a robot, man.
Well, man, maybe we're going to see that. I think that's what's going to happen now.
I think that's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Is that he'll end up coming back, and they got to do the Ghost Vision, dude. Like the all white Vision.
Well, they kind of did it like they played at it.
They did. But it was like very short.
It's very subtle.
You know what I mean? But
if you're not looking, you'll miss it.
Yeah. I think when it comes back, you got to do that, and you got to kind of make him like, I don't know, maybe that same story arc. Like, I'm not the guy that loved you.
Yeah.
And then at some point,
I think that's what WandaVision's going to be.
Right. I agree.
And like, well, wait, for my fans too, we're talking about in Avengers Infinity War when Thanos rips out Vision's Infinity Stone or whatever, you look at Vision's color change, that's what we're talking about, the Ghost Vision. He like goes gray.
He goes gray, yeah.
He doesn't have any of his
In the
colors.
comic book, he's very white. It's all his cape, everything's white.
Is ghosty.
Space Ghost.
I had another question for you.
Shoot them off.
Okay, wait, actually, with the school, I want to go back to talk about the kids at the school.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about the whole CK arc and how that tied in?
Even before the CK arc, I mean, Vic is almost getting bullied by the girl who types on her laptop. Like, are you normal?
Yeah, it's like,
and the question of the whole book, literally, man, is what is normal?
Yeah. Literally.
Am I normal? Are you normal? Here's always my thing, too. Like, people are weird, right? Everybody's weird in their own way. I'm weird.
Yeah, I'm a weirdo.
Shit, right? And if anybody was actually normal, wouldn't they just be weird? Because they're the normal one, right? All of us weirdos would be looking at them like, yo, you're weird, man.
Yeah.
Right? So there is no normal. It's like impossible to be normal.
I think that in my experience, not to get preachy, but like anyone who you think looks like they have it together doesn't have it together. No. I think we're all just trying to do the best we can, but to assume normalcy or to project normalcy onto someone else is false. It's wrong.
Yeah. And, so Vic's being bullied a little bit with am I normal? And, the whole CK thing, what I got from it was he actually cares about Viv, right?
Yeah.
They're lab partners, and he kind of has like a thing. He's
schoolboy crush.
You know what I mean? For this weird robot chick.
Yeah.
And when he comes up and starts talking to Vic, he, it was almost like, this like machismo thing, right? Where he's like, hey, where's your sister? And he's like, he's not answering because he knows where she's at. She's blasted in half, right? She's half of a body. The Vision's trying to repair her. And he's a little bit touchy with that. And when CK realizes that, he gets, it's like he kind of starts to bully a bit. And he was like, hey man, don't be a dick. I'm just asking you. She's my lab partner. Like, are you going to help me out? Someone's going to help me finish my papers.
Yeah.
And as much as he's coming across as like the bully in that scene, it was two high school kids talking shit to each other, basically.
Yeah.
And then Vic's like, nah, dog, I'm a robot. I'll break your fucking neck.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And like, I think that the way that because that arc could have.
The way that I just said that too is like, I'll break your fucking neck. Yeah. But in the book, the narration that's popping up is he's talking about how he's studied human anatomy, he knows that Viv told him if you press this button behind the like carotid artery hard enough, like the brain will shut off. Like, he's a robot, so he's doing it systematically, not just like, yo, I'll snap your neck.
Yeah,
he's doing it like as he's holding him up by the throat. He's thinking of what he's gonna do, and then he drops him on the floor, and it's.
And then we go to the principal's office, which is a great scene. But we were saying I think that the way they made CK's arc like blend in with the entire thing was like brilliant.
It's brilliant, and it matches the rest of the book. It's just beautifully haunting because he has a schoolboy crush on Viv, and when they're walking in the rain, which is a great like scene,
Yeah.
if you will, he's like, "You're a machine. Don't you need an umbrella?" And she says, "No, it just goes right through me."
Yeah, and then that being a theme
the entire time, because he calls her cool, like you're I think you're cool, or you're so
Yeah.
cool, or something like that.
And
And
then-
then she in turn has this weird crush
yeah.
on CK.
because she's like, "Wow, I'm being accepted or whatever." And then because it could have just been her and CK, but then the way they tied it into Virginia and the Reaper, his dad being the one,
Who's blackmailing her?
blackmailing her.
And the thing too with the blackmail is it's really like it really just is in theme with the whole story. He doesn't want money.
Yeah,
He
no.
doesn't want like a pardon or what. He doesn't want anything from Vision. He knows he's an Avenger. He just wants them to leave his neighborhood.
Yeah, which is it's unfortunate, but it's for all those perspectives that we have, like I guess against the Vision's lifestyle, just the family.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are like wrong. I don't blame anyone for feeling the way they do.
No,
They're very empathetic characters.
that's why the story works so well.
It really does.
You know what I mean? And then so what ends up happening in that scene? He's just telling the Vision family to leave because they're really not welcome. Because he almost killed his kid in school, and the kids are weapons, right? And Virginia gets aggressive, and he pulls out a gun and shoots at her, and she phases, and the bullets go through her. And CK's walking down the stairs, and he shoots him like 5 times
In the head.
He kills his own son, man.
Yeah, and I think the fact that she phased too was so like beautiful tragedy, because that's what the conversation CK was having with Viv
About the rain.
He's like, literally, it's like, oh wow, she just phases through. It goes right through me, and then it's like, boom, the bullets go through, and like,
Yeah, like the same. That's the book's. It's done so well.
I'm like, we all need. You know who? I'm thinking now, and I'll just say it on air. You know who? Don't return this book to me. You know who you should give it to is Jared.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, just go give it to Jared.
I feel like just for him though. I want him to watch WandaVision, maybe a couple weeks of it. Which we're gonna get 2 episodes on that first day, which is great.
Friday. Friday.
So I'm excited, but I think I want to let him watch a couple of those and then give him this maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
So it's kind of in the whole he gets it. I feel like if I just give it to him now before that, he'll just be like, "Oh, cool."
Oh my gosh, I'm like, okay,
Hey,
but
this is going in the pile over there in the corner.
yeah, right. Okay, then. Oh, when it comes to the Avengers, how do you think that Vision stands, like power level wise? Like, did you buy that? Pretty much, did you buy that fight?
Yeah. I bought the fight. I know maybe you're a little eye roll, but I've talked about this before on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I was saying what a wiener he is in the movie. He's portrayed as so weak in the movies, and to me, I'm going to base this off of like the MCU and the Avengers that people are familiar with.
Let's just say the staple team.
Right, yeah, the stable team. Because there's a lot of Avengers. Everyone's been an Avenger, and a lot of the new Avengers, if you put them in the top like 10, you'd be like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, who is that even? But for me, I think like we can talk about this.
Yeah.
But like, right? Thor's probably
The most powerful?
Yeah. Thor, Hulk, right?
I don't know. Hulk's. I don't know who's stronger. I want to say Thor's stronger than Hulk, but I'll give it to Hulk.
So if we're just like, let's just spitball top 5. Like Thor, Hulk, Wanda. For sure, dude.
Yeah, they're different powers. That's what makes them so.
Right.
I'd put Wanda at like top 3 for sure, hands down.
For sure. Captain Marvel.
Nah, she's not. She's like 5 or 6.
Okay, but still 5 or 6.
I think Vision is top 3 too.
Right. Vision, Doctor Strange. It's kind of those like.
Different.
It's kind of those like, their powers aren't like with Doctor Strange and Wanda.
Yeah.
They're not strength power. They're like world altering power.
Yeah.
Like they will fuck you up because they can manipulate everything.
Yeah.
So I think Vision is in the top 5, and I think he, in the movies especially, he's been grossly underused.
Well, and hopefully now we're gonna get some more just specifically Vision content now, which is something to look forward to. But I think actually in Avengers: Age of Ultron they did a really good job kind of showing how powerful he is, or at least just a hint. Civil War they didn't. He was. I was like, where he's the heaviest hitter in either group.
I know, right?
I'd say. Oh, here's my list. Thor number 1. Number 2 is probably. I
put Hulk there because that's always like the argument.
He's like strong.
He's strong, right?
He's like, yeah, he's the tank. But I'm like, Mjolnir in itself, just being able to wield and throw and then lightning.
Thor's a god. You understand that. He's top of it. He is top of it.
Iron Man's not on the top. Cap's not at the top. Thor number 1. Then I don't know who number 2 is. Maybe Vision doesn't seem right. Maybe Scarlet Witch.
I think so.
Scarlet Witch. Then I just go Vision, and then frankly, Doctor Strange right after that.
Right.
And then Hulk, Captain America, whoever. But
sure.
Those are mine. I think I'm gonna think that over for a long time.
Right. Spider-Man's got to be in there somewhere, right?
Yeah. He's not for most powerful, but like. Because then when you think of the strategy ability, right. Cap would be above Spider-Man.
Sure.
And then Tony Stark is in there somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. But, yeah.
We see where we're coming from.
So he eventually, he has to go. He doesn't need to fight the Avengers. He needs to, well, if we back it up a little bit, his brother, Victor Macha, who is basically Vision 2.0, right? Ultron made him as well to destroy the Avengers, just like he did. Oh, hold on, time out. The best part is when he's going through the 37 times that he saved the world, and 8 of them are Ultron.
Oh, yeah, and I love that.
It's like, number 1, Kang the Conqueror. Number 2, like, whoever. Number 3, Ultron. Number 4, Ultron. Number 5, Ultron again. And then there's another 10. And then number 26, Ultron. Number 28, Ultron.
Yeah.
Number 32, Ultron.
Yeah.
Like, Ultron just keeps coming, right?
Yeah, and I like Ultron. I don't know. But I haven't read any Ultron stories. That's what's funny.
So, Victor Mancha he's basically Vision, but Ultron made him to be human. He gave him, like, human organs that are still, robotic, but, he's very much a human. And I think if I had to pick a favorite character in the book, he was one of my favorite characters because he was so different. He's in that group of robots, which is, the Visions, and he is basically a Vision, but he's not. He's way more human, and the way he tries to connect with each one of them is not like a robot, how Vision would. He tries to connect with the kids as a, like, big brother human.
Yeah.
He's doing what Vision wants to do, but Vision can't do it because of, like, his coding.
Yeah.
Right? He thinks too, like, analytically, where Victor is actually speaking with, like, human emotion.
Yeah. And absolutely. And, like, the way, because it's cool too, though, because there's that give and take between Victor and Vision, because Vision wants the humanity that Victor has,
right.
And Victor wants, I guess, the power or just like just the ability that Vision has. Like, there's a mutual, when they were talking about, because I've never read Avengers AI, but when they were talking about it, he's like, I was so honored, to be on this team with this guy that I really, care about.
Yeah. And it's cool too, man, because they show him, and then they show him, and he's fucked up too, because he's addicted to vibranium.
Yeah.
Which I did not know was a thing, but I guess if you're, like non-organic, the vibranium can power you. It's like heroin.
Yeah.
And like when he sees Virginia playing the piano that was gifted from Wakanda, I think. It had the vibranium, the vibranium strings. He's like, yo, and he gets in there and he's all like,
oh yeah,
gacked out. So what ends up happening is Victor kills Vic.
Oh.
But the reason that the Vision has to go through the Avengers was Victor was sent there by the Avengers to spy on his brother because no one else would have been able to.
Yeah.
And so it's a great part of the book when he's got to go, he's basically trying to go kill Victor, who's being held in a cell. And he just keeps telling the Avengers, whether you let me go or not, like, I don't need your permission. Like, I'm coming through all of you. And one of my favorite moments, because it's just a Spidey moment, is when the first time he says that, and Spider-Man just goes, oh, poop. Like, he's like, we're going to fucking fight. You know what I mean? Like, we are fighting this guy.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. When the Vision, because he does this to half the team, when he phases through their chest and then unphases and he's basically punching through them.
Yeah.
Is he killing him?
No. No, I think he has a lot more control than that. But I think that he's changing his what's
his mass.
His mass. He's. It's not like because on one half it's like, does that hurt anyone if you're just going through him? But
no. But see, what he's doing is he's going through them, and then once his hand's through, he's becoming solid again.
Yeah, I don't think he's killing them because when he pulls out, there's not one big gaping hole in their chest. It makes me think of like Kitty Pryde when she does it to robots or something. When she does it to tech, it just makes the tech explode. I think it's like kind of like that, but with I guess our internal organs. It doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, because he does it to like all of them. He does it to Black Panther. He hits Beast.
Yeah, going back to the question, I think that was incredibly believable. Like that sequence happening, like him. That's why I asked, where does he stand power level with the Avengers? Because I'm like, I totally believe that entire sequence. I think he could take him out.
Yeah, he could take him out, and he had a reason, and he was driven to get through them.
Yeah, he was justified. They were justified.
It's great. It's great. And then when he goes in to kill him, Virginia's there because she knew he was going to get through him, and she just walked through, and then she kills him.
And it was the way that was a perfect moment too, because he almost went too far, and then his wife being the one that went too far because she's been the one going too far this entire time was the perfect choice.
And she went too far because she's Wanda.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
What was up when he pulls off Wanda's necklace and she like falls?
I don't remember.
She's trying to stop him before he goes into Victor's cell, and she's like, "Vision, I love you. You know me. And he says something visiony, and he grabs her necklace and he pops it off. And when he pops it off, she like collapses to the floor. Is that like a source of her power?
Probably could be. Could be like gets an item. It's probably subject to her Scarlet Witch series that was just starting at the same time. It was probably some trinket to hone her abilities, kind of like.
I think the other lady gave it to her.
Okay, so after that technical difficulty, we are back, and Jesse, with your final question, what would you rate this story out of 10?
I'm not gonna, I don't throw around the big numbers too often.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, and very rarely are you gonna find something that's a 10. But this book, in my mind, is a 10, and there's no question.
It's a perfect 10.
It is. Wow. Is there things that could be done better? Are there things that this book borrows from?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it very much is American Beauty, and you can tell that.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't care. It's like one of the best books I've ever read, right?
Yeah.
Like, to me, this is a 10. I love Saga. Saga's a 10 for me.
Yeah.
But that's also a much bigger body of work. This, for 12 issues, is a 10, undoubtedly. No question. Everyone should go and read it.
I think I think this one is a 10. Absolutely. Of course, everyone would know I'd rate it a 10. But I think just on top of it, like it set off to tell the story that it wanted to tell, and it did it well. Like, it did it perfectly, frankly. And so I think that Tom King, and also, like, I implore the rest of the listeners to go read other Tom King works, because he does this. He's continually doing this for characters. He did this for Mr. Miracle, who's a character that, like, he brought so much humanity to. He's currently doing it now with Adam Strange, which is just like another B-list character who kind of bounces around the universe. But when it just goes to show that when you take the time to really dig into a character and like kind of find out what they want and what they are about, and he just puts on a masterclass of, wow, these are the types of stories that can be told for these characters. And so I think that this is brilliant, amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
The storytelling, the art style, and you're right. He set out to tell a certain story, and he nailed the landing. I mean, he nailed it. Like,
yeah,
it's such a human story, and it's done beautifully. And I just realized right now I'm such a ding dong, and I do this every episode. As we're talking, I notice things. That's a family tree, you stupid guy. Look, it's a digital family tree. God, I'm done. Like,
You didn't realize that?
No.
He's
I
looking
don't know. I was too busy reading the book. I didn't look at the cover.
He was looking at the cover of the book as we recorded this. Okay, and so that is going to wrap it for this week's episode of Cameron Reads Comics. Go check out our other episodes on Avengers Disassembled. We did a whole 3 weeks in a row on the Avengers, and so go check that out.
I mean, is it the Avengers or is it? I mean, they all have to do with this story.
It does, but it's just Avengers Disassembled, and then House of M, and then I think this one were the ones that we kind of tackled going into this. So, because it was for the Avengers game review. That's why.
Oh, that's right.
Video game. It was
That's right.
ramping up to that. If you want to hear more of our, journey on that, I really implore you to go check those out. You will see this on YouTube by now, so go check us out on YouTube at Cameron Reads Comics. Go give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, and I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at Cameron Reads Comics. So go check those out, those places to see us. It's going to be great. And go read some comics today. We will smell you later.
Bye.
Oh, wait, also, stay tuned next week for Wonder Woman 84 movie review with my buddy Jack. We are going to talk about one of the more...
Polarizing.
It is, that's the word. It's a polarizing movie. So, anyways, we will see you guys later.
Peace.